Hey everyone, so it's Hearth and welcome back to my channel. So on today's video, we're going to be talking about the moon phases and how you can work with them within your magical practice. So the moon has been a pivotal part of our society for essentially as long as people realised it was there. The moon has played a significant part in calendars and in traditions and celebrations for thousands, if not tens of thousands of years. And the moon has been used within magical rituals and workings for about as long as humans have been practicing magic. But especially now in the 21st century, we're seeing a resurgence in the use of moon magic and the lunar cycles within magical practice. But it can be a little bit confusing. What are the moon phases and what different types of magic are associated with each one? So this is what I'm going to be talking about today. The different moon phases and the types of magic that you can practice in each moon phase. Now there is one thing that I want to mention before we get started, and that is that using the moon within your magic is not a requirement. It is simply an extra addition to your magical workings. Magic can be worked successfully as long as your energy and intention are aligned and you're able to raise and release this energy accordingly. That is essentially the basis to a functioning magical practice. Different people use different associations to add layers of energy onto their workings. This can be colour correspondence, herbs, incense, candles. It can be something as simple as the colour of candle that you're using and something as complex as the day of the week, the moon phase, the time of the day, the month, even the year that a magical practice is undertaken in. These are simply additions to your working. A lot of people find that working with the energy of the moon really helps with their magical practice, but some people simply don't. And because of that, it's important that you play around with it and see what you find works best for you. For a lot of people, working with the lunar cycles really works well for them, but for me, it doesn't. Everyone is different, so I want to let you guys know this beforehand so that if you don't feel connected to the moon or you don't want to work with it, you really don't have to. So let's get on to the moon phases. So the first moon phase is the new moon. This is considered to be the point where the moon is almost entirely dark with a small sliver of light. Now the new moon is ideal to be used for transformational magic, transitional magic from one thing to another, as well as new beginnings in business, in luck, and in love. So it's an ideal time to be working spells to find new love, to do road opener work, to clear blockages and open new beginnings, as well as a good time to find new job opportunities or new starts in life. So if you're wanting to find a new job, a new love, a new home, anything really new, the new moon is a fantastic time to start it. Now the next moon phase is the waxing moon. Now the waxing moon is a time of amplification. Things begin to grow and expand. And so because of it, this time of the moon phase is really good to be working abundant spells. So good luck, prosperity, abundance, but also fertility and creativity. It's a time to really get things moving, to start pushing forwards to achieving your goals. It's also a really wonderful time to be doing love amplification workings, as well as friendship spells. It's really good for creating bonds with other people, as well as within situations. Now the next moon phase is the big one, the full moon. Now the full moon is considered to be the most powerful time for lunar magic. And it's also considered to be a time when any spell can be undertaken and be amplified by the moon's energy. So a lot of practitioners will do all of their spells on a full moon to kind of amplify that energy if they choose to work with lunar magic and lunar cycles. Now the full moon is a time for reaping rewards. Everything that you've sown in the new moon, that you've amplified in the waxing moon, you can now reap in the full moon. It's a time for prosperity workings and kind of tying up loose ends. So finishing off jobs, finishing off rituals that you haven't got round to yet. It's a time for kind of closing everything round and bringing it into your life. Now, it's also a really good time for exchanges, so things like marriages and initiations are often really commonly done on a full moon due to its heightened power and the idea of fertility, abundance, and prospering. Now, because of the heightened lunar energy at this time of the month, it's also a really great time to do divination readings, to work on psychic energy, your third eye, and also to undertake meditation. It's a really great time to look forward to the coming cycle of the moon and to kind of plan ahead for the darker phases of the moon that we're going to be entering into. Now, the next moon phase is the waning moon. Now, this is the time to clear out things that you don't want. It's about breaking bonds, breaking ties, and stopping things that are holding you back. So oftentimes, cord cutting work is done on a waning moon, as well as cleansings, clearing out what you don't want. It's also a good time to finish off any legal work that's going on, as well as breaking bad habits. So this time of the month is fantastic if you want to quit smoking, if you want to start a diet, if you want to eat healthier. It's the breaking of bad habits that are fantastic to be done at this time of the moon. So while the waxing is the amplification of energy, the waning is the decreasing of it. You're going to be sending out anything that you don't want in your life anymore. This time of the month is the best. And now the last moon phase that I'm going to be talking about is the dark moon. Now, some people consider the dark moon and the new moon to be the same time, but in magical workings, the dark moon is considered to be separate. It is the 3 days of the month where the moon is essentially not visible in the sky. There is no sliver of light. It is simply a dark blob. Now, a lot of practitioners consider the dark moon to be a bad time to do any working and that you should avoid it at all costs. But personally, I find that it's a really, really good time of the month to be doing cleansings, banishings, bindings, as well as curses, hexes, jinxes, and crosses. It is a fantastic time of the moon phase to be doing these more negative workings. So if you want to bind someone's bad behavior, that is particularly good to be doing in the dark phase of the moon. Banishings are really good as well, but especially hexes, curses, jinxes, and crosses. This time of the moon cycle is fantastic for that, for one primary reason: the light is less. Now, this might sound kind of weird, but this idea has been used for a very long time. People would often work during the full moon at night because everyone was visible and you could see everyone, but at the new moon, you can barely see anything if you're not in a street lighted area or if you don't have lamps. So it's a fantastic time to be doing any working that you don't want other people to sense. So if you want to hex someone, curse, cross, jinx, if you want to banish them from your life or get rid of them, but you want it to be discreet, subtle, you don't want anything to lead it back to you, then this time of the moon phase is fantastic for that, because you're shielded by the dark time of this dark phase of the moon. So it's fantastic for doing any workings that is designed to be discreet. Things that you don't want other practitioners or other people to find out about, the dark moon is fantastic for that. And then the moon cycles back round to the new moon, the waxing, the full, the waning, and back to the dark moon again. And by utilizing these times within the phases of the moon, it is believed that you can work really successfully with that energy, the tidal energy of the moon, to help attract things and remove things from your life. And the lunar energy is really considered to be very tidal. It does come and go. It's very ebbing and flowing. It's very rhythmic. So it's great if you kind of struggle to time your spells accordingly, if you're never quite sure when to undertake your spell work and you don't really have anything else to go off. Working with the moon phases can be a fantastic way to add extra addition to your spells. But it is important to say again that not everyone works with the moon phases. Some people simply don't connect to them, and some people don't want to be waiting 28 days to be doing a spell to wait for the perfect moon phase to come around. So it's a great thing to kind of play around with, trial and error, see if you feel connected and if you feel drawn to it, and if you do, it could be a really nice addition to your magical workings. But best to remember that you don't have to use lunar magic all of the time either. If you do feel drawn to using lunar magic, but you want to do a prosperity working, but it's in the waning phase, you don't have to wait for that time of the moon cycle to come round again if you really don't want to. The most important thing is your energy and your intention. Anything else is simply a bonus. So as you can see, the moon phases can be used for a lot more than just making moon water. That is something that I am seeing more and more commonly now. The moon magic and lunar magic can be incredibly powerful and incredibly potent, and you can do far more with it than simply leaving out a jar of water to collect that lunar energy, or even just charging your crystals. You can work with this energy to amplify the intent that you're putting out into the universe, and for some people, it can bring very powerful and very quick acting results. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. I know this was only a quick one, but this was something I really wanted to talk about because it can get a little bit confusing knowing which moon phases to do what with. Now there is a book that I do thoroughly recommend. I'm going to link it down in the description box for anyone that's interested. You can find it on Amazon and you can also find it from the works. I'm not affiliated with this whatsoever, but it is a wonderful reprint of an amazing book. It's simply called Moon Magick. You can find it in the works. It's about £4 and it's a reprint of a sort of old book that goes really in depth into lunar magic. So if anyone's interested in diving headfirst into lunar magic and moon spells, that book is genuinely fantastic. I have it. I've talked about it a little bit in my bookshelf tour, and honestly, I would highly recommend it for anyone that does want to dive far deeper into lunar magic. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys found it useful. If you did, feel free to give it a like. It really means so much to me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, video ideas, or just want to chit chat with the community down in the comment section, feel free to post a comment. And if you enjoy the magical content on this channel or in this video, feel free to hit subscribe. I post new magical content every Wednesday and every Saturday at 6 p.m. So I hope you guys have a marvelous magical day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!